From the Gray Man Briefing, this is a summary of recent developments regarding the Second Amendment, cybersecurity, protests, supply chain disruptions, national security, law and order, free speech, censorship, government oversight, and more.
For the fourth quarter of 2025, this is Update 2 to the Gray Man Briefing summary of recent developments. Across the country, in California, the DOJ sued the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department over concealed carry permit delays, and a fire at Chevron's El Segundo refinery threatened regional fuel supplies. In Hawaii, the Supreme Court took up a challenge to the state's firearm-carry restrictions. In Illinois, ICE agents were ambushed and police refused to assist. In Portland, police were accused of pro-Antifa bias in handling riots, while the president ordered the deployment of National Guard troops to both Chicago and Portland, with legal blocks being sought. On a national level, federal authorities cut ties with the ADL and SPLC, that's the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center, after accusations of political bias, while the FBI was revealed to have tracked communications of multiple Republican lawmakers during the January 6th probe. Internationally, the UK advanced digital ID mandates, and Vietnam enforced biometric banking requirements. President Trump issued an ultimatum to Hamas under his Gaza peace plan. Let's begin today with the Second Amendment. In Los Angeles, California, the Department of Justice filed its first ever affirmative gun rights lawsuit against the LA County Sheriff's Department, citing unconstitutional delays in concealed carry permits that extended up to 1,030 days. The DOJ seeks an injunction to enforce compliance with constitutional and state timelines. Separately, in Hawaii, the Supreme Court agreed to hear a case challenging the state's firearm carry law restricting guns in public and private spaces. The outcome could reshape national standards for sensitive places and public carry under the Second Amendment. Looking now at the government oversight briefing, in the United Kingdom, they enacted the Data Use and Access Act of 2025, creating Digital Verification Services, or DVS, to allow citizens to prove identity online, with full mandatory use for employment verification expected by 2029. In Vietnam, banks began freezing or deleting accounts lacking biometric verification under their Project 06, affecting over 86 million users. They closed down the accounts of 86 million users. In the U.S., the FBI confirmed Special Counsel Jack Smith, his Arctic Frost team, tracked communications of 9 GOP senators, with the Biden administration citing a January 6th investigation as authority for tracking those phones. Separately, FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed that the FBI has officially cut ties with the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center, ending collaborations formed under the former administration James Comey. The decision came after mounting criticism that both groups used partisan activism disguised as intelligence, influencing how federal agencies identified extremist threats. So basically, the ADL and SPLC, they train FBI, they train local law enforcement. Their information is put on PowerPoints and given to officers to form who the officers should look at as being extremist. On September 9th, just one day before the assassination of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, the SPLC released its monthly Hate Watch report, labeling Turning Point USA as part of the hard right. The report cited conservative speaker Vince Ellison's comments and criticized Kirk's organization for opposing diversity and equity initiatives. Around the same time, the ADL faced backlash for listing the America First idea and Turning Point USA in its glossary of extremism and hate, which it later removed following public outcry. Patel said these partnerships, quote, favored activism disguised as counterterrorism and endangered Americans, end quote, emphasizing that under current leadership, the FBI will, quote, never rely on politicized or agenda-driven intelligence from outside groups, and certainly not from the SPLC, end quote. The move marks a significant shift toward internal vetting and independence from private advocacy groups in federal investigations. Moving on, let's look at the supply chain briefing. In El Segundo, California, a fire at Chevron's refinery sent large flames and smoke into the sky, temporarily halting operations. The facility supplies roughly 40% of Southern California's jet fuel and 20% of its gasoline. Officials warned that if repairs take weeks or months, the outage could cause local fuel shortages and price spikes, though national effects are expected to remain limited. And now, quickly at civil unrest. Pro-Palestinian, anti-ICE, anti-Trump, LGBT protest, they all remain ongoing. The latest civil unrest brief is dropping this week with coverage on the widespread anti-ICE protest and riots. Join at graymanbriefing.com for real-time updates. Let's look at law and order. In Broadview, Illinois, bordering Chicago, ICE agents were surrounded by multiple vehicles, 10 vehicles, and attacked by an armed individual, forcing them to fire defensive shots. They were rammed by these vehicles. They were surrounded. DHS later confirmed that Chicago police were ordered not to assist, and a CAD report shows that, as well as high-ranking Chicago police officers, all given an order not to assist federal agents under attack. In Portland, Oregon, the police department faced allegations of favoring Antifa-linked rioters, all while targeting conservative journalists. Nationwide, the Department of Homeland Security revealed that cartels, gangs, and terror groups offered bounties on ICE and Border Patrol agents with personal information and doxing. The president responded by deploying National Guard troops to Illinois and Oregon to support federal law enforcement, but both those deployments are under legal challenge at this time. Let's look now at global conflict. On October 3rd, President Trump warned Hamas to accept his Gaza peace deal by October 5th, that was the past Sunday, or face severe consequences. The plan includes a 20-point framework for disarmament, cessation of Israeli operations, Gaza reconstruction under international oversight, and of course the release of hostages. Hours before that deadline, Hamas tentatively agreed to negotiate to release all those hostages, including those deceased, and signaled willingness to enter mediated talks, marking a key development in regional stability efforts. At this time, Hamas and Israel are now in Egypt, having talks to help close that deal. And we're going to stop there. That is it for this week's summary of recent developments. Remember, these briefings are delivered in real time to Grayman Briefing subscribers sent via the Telegram and Signal apps, also via weekly emails. Thanks for listening. Remain aware, be vigilant, and stay safe.